I'm so excited you're here, and I'm so pumped to work on our goals together and to teach you some very powerful goal setting strategies that are going to be super effective to make your year freaking amazing. That is my goal. So I'm going to share my screen because I made adorable slides that y'all need to see, and we're going to jump right in. So give me 1 second to share my slides and we'll get started. Okay, hold on. Let me try again. You gotta love technology. Okay, here we go. Tell me if you can see my cute slides. Give me a give me a thumbs up, somebody, because I can't see my chat anymore. Okay, I see some thumbs up. All right. Today we're talking about three life-changing goal setting strategies for 2025. Um, and we're actually going to set goals while we're on this call. That way it we can get stuff done. And because I know if you're anything like me, you probably haven't had any time. You've been busy with kids and family and the holidays. So that's what we're going to do today on this call. Really quick, just about me. If you don't know me, I'm Kelly France. I am a mom of four wild and crazy, hilarious kids. I'm a business coach for coaches and course creators. I am the author of One Goal for 100 Days and the host of the Top 1% podcast, Finally Fearless. I also run a direct sales team of 5,000 women, and I went from food stamps to seven figures with some of these goal techniques I'm going to share with you guys. I own actually two Airbnbs. We sold one. And I live in Southern California, so I'm a big foodie. Love me some tacos. Love thrifting and boogie boarding, and I'm a dance floor diva. So that's a little bit about me. Um, so I posted this the other day on Instagram because I don't know about you, but every January 1st, I feel like so behind. I'm like, bah. And I was like, I haven't set any goals for 2025. I think I posted this on like the 3rd of January. Now it's the 6th. And I was like, I haven't set any goals. And I just want to tell you that you don't have to have it all figured out yet. Okay. You you don't have to have it figured out the first week of January. You don't have to have it figured out the 2nd of January. I would say give yourself the whole month to to give yourself some time to reflect and figure out what you want. But hopefully this call helps you, get a lot of your goals figured out. So just give yourself grace this month. But my goal on this call is to help you strategically set goals with me today in 1 hour. So let's go. Let's do this thing. So first, before we start setting goals, I think it's so important as women to write our wins, to kind of reflect on the past year and write down some of our wins. Because so often as women, I've noticed particularly in women that we focus on um, how far we've come instead of we focus on how far we have to go instead of how far we've come. And so I want you to focus on the donut and not the hole. So let's talk about that for a minute. And then we're actually going to take time to do this. Um, so often, so here's the thing. Our brains are wired to, we have this thing called negativity bias. Our brains are wired to like look for the negative because it's trying to keep us safe. So you'll see here, you probably noticed the spider first before you noticed the flowers. That's just kind of what our brains do. And I talk a lot about this on my Imposter to Empowered masterclass, which you can watch on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/KellyFrance. And so often we're looking for the negative because it keeps us safe, right? We're looking for things that don't always keep us safe. And, but what I want you to do is to look for the wins from 2024, from last year, because there's more than you think. You just weren't maybe paying attention to it. So, Susan said, I love spiders. Well, good. That's amazing, Susan. Good for you. I would say you're in the minority. I'm just kidding. That's a wild guess. I'm thinking you're in the minority here. But what I want. So here's the thing. What you focus on expands. And so, what do you want to grow? Do you want your doubts to grow or your dreams? And so, we want to focus on some of our wins from 2024. And I always say, I tell this to my coaching clients, the work is the win. It's not the result. It's not getting the client, getting the sale, you know, reaching your goal. It's that work. The work is the win because if you're doing what you love, and hopefully you are in your life, then the work is part of the fun. So, I want to share a funny story about my friend Becky. I did a post back in 2022, or no, it was the beginning of 2023, and I asked my followers. I said, "Hey, what were your wins from 2022?" And I remember specifically Becky responding and saying, I survived in the comments. And I thought that was really funny and relatable, right? Because sometimes that's how we feel at the end of the year, especially if you're a mom and you just, you know, survived Christmas and like just there's so much. There's so much that we do. I literally crashed and took a nap like at noon on Christmas. I was like, I'm done. I survived. I did it. So anyway, sometimes that's just how we feel, and we're like, that's all I did this year. And so she said after my post, because I shared some of my wins, in the post, she was like, I really went back through my phone photos, which I think is the best strategy to do. And I looked through all my wins, and she said it's a long list full of amazing things. And she listed by month, which I thought was super smart, all of the wins that she had that year. And you can see here, you know, I'm trying to hide my little control panel. It's really annoying. Zoom, you are getting in my way. Um, she said she was nominated by a friend. She earned a trip to Riviera Maya. She remembered her boy's birthday, took down a Christmas tree. They had some really great family experiences, went to Yellowstone, laughed so hard one night at dinner. You know, some of these are lifestyle wins, some of these are business wins. But sometimes we forget. And really, scrolling through your phone photos is a really powerful way to notice your wins. So, I'm going to share a post that I did. So I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen for a second, and then I'm going to share it again, but I'm going to share an Instagram post I recently did to show you what I did. And then I want you to start thinking of, in fact, you can do this right now. Just start thinking of what were some of your wins from 2024, because I want you to write it down just to give yourself a little bit of credit and like see how far you've come, because every year we grow. And and there's another reason that I want you to do this. So, of course, I can't find any of the amount of technical difficulties I'm having here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen and share this post that I did on social media. So here we go. This was a post I did earlier called The Highlights and Hard of 2024. And hopefully you can see this. And I went through my phone photos and kind of looked through some of the highlights and some of the hard parts of 2024. And so one of them was that I swam with sharks in Hawaii, which was really exciting and scary. And I was really proud of myself for doing that. But I also threw up 3 times afterwards on the boat, right? Sometimes there's hard things that go with the highlights too. Highlight was I lost some weight. Hard was working out every day, 5 days a week. Highlight, speaking on stage. Hard was the nerves and the prep of speaking on stage. Highlight, earning 10K in 1 month in my coaching business. Hard, learning by trial and error. I felt like all of last year I just learned what not to do in my coaching business. Like, oh, this isn't what I want to do. This doesn't work. You know, I don't like this approach. So there was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of learning what not to do. And then highlight was my daughter's wedding. It was honestly one of the best days of my life with all of our friends and family together. Hard, planning my daughter's wedding in 100 days. Had to do that That was intense. I did that over the summer and it was a very, very stressful summer. Um, highlight earning a trip to Cabo. Hard haters being mean. Haters being hurtful. Haters being haters. Highlight was my book was I launched my book and it was number one in women in business on Amazon. I mean, hard was my grandma passed away. Another highlight, earning a trip to New York City. Hard, our dog passed away. So there were some highlights and hards. And the reason that I think it's so powerful to do this is because we um sometimes we forget, first of all. And second of all, I was having a conversation with a friend who's like my personal trainer, my virtual personal trainer. She's actually one of the coaches that I coach. And she was like, "What were some of the hard things?" And I told her, and she was like, um, she was like, "Well, what were some of the highlights that came from?" And I was like, "Oh, there actually were some really awesome highlights that came from the hard. And then there were some hard things that came from the highlights." So we're going to actually, I think we're going to skip this part, but I'm hoping that you guys are writing down and maybe just write in the comments at least like three highlights from your year, like three wins that you had from 2024, because it's really powerful to look at where did those come from? Did they come from some of the hard things? Because for me, they did. A lot of the highlights came from the hard. And then some of the good parts had hard parts that went with them. So there's that. All right. I want to hear in the comments anybody's wins they want to share from 2024. Write in the chat and share some highlights that you had. And then we're gonna move on because we've got to get to those goals. We only have 1 hour and we're gonna have to do like 15 minutes per goal setting strategy. So let me see in the comments some of your highlights, some of your wins. Isn't it funny how it's harder for us to focus on the good, and not the spiders, right? Susan said, I re-promoted in my direct sales business company. Good job, Susan. That's amazing. Leanne said, I went through my photos and I couldn't believe that I had forgot some of my highlights were, right? This is what we do. It's because sometimes we're in survival mode, right? We're busy just getting through the day and we forget some of the awesome things. She said she got engaged. She rappelled off a building. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Um, she said the hard part of that was self-coaching through being petrified of heights. I mean, heck yeah. She said she moved in with her fiance. The hard was the actual move and learning to live with a significant other. Yes. She launched a new community. I love that. Good for you, girl. Yes. Susie said, one broad highlight for me in 2024 is being a member of our local Parks and Recreation Commission and all the improvement to our parks during the last year. That's awesome. Good job, Susie. Okay, so just make sure that you make a list of some of those wins for the year, because our brains only want to collect evidence of everything we're doing wrong, and it's important to focus on what we're doing right and some of those wins. All right, now we're going to move on to the juicy stuff, the strategies, the goal setting strategies. Oh, here's one more. Jerry said, 3 wins, made it 10 years with my government job, planned my baby's second birthday party, planned in a month, my daughter's 18th birthday trip to Panama, and did 18 days to 18 countdown, posting on Facebook each day, sharing advice to my daughter. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Amazing. Amazing. See, and we can inspire each other with our wins. I love it. Okay. So now we are going to talk about 3 goal setting strategies that are life-changing, honestly have been life-changing for me. And the first one that I want to talk about is writing a diary entry. Okay. But first I want to talk about the power of writing down goals. And I'm actually going to read a quote from my book that shares a really cool statistic that everyone needs to hear. And that is, so this is my book, One Goal for 100 Days. The This is a really cool statistic. So, a really cool study. So, researchers studied Harvard MBA students before graduation and they asked them, have you set clear written goals for your future and made plans to accomplish them? They found that 84% of students had no goals set, 13% had goals in mind, but didn't write them down, and only 3% had goals written on paper along with clear plans to accomplish them. 10 years passed. Okay. So 10 years later, the researchers checked back in with the graduates and they discovered that the abstract goal setters were making, so the ones who had goals in mind were making twice the amount of money as the students who had no goals, which is really impressive, right? And then, but the real success story was the 3% who had written down their goals. They were making 10 times the income of the other 97% combined. Combined, y'all. So the 3% who had written down their goals were making 10 times the income of the other 97% combined. Okay. Who doesn't want to make 10 times more income or impact than the average human? So that is the power of writing down your goals. And so one effective way to do this is by writing a diary entry dated December 31st, 2025. Okay. And this is a tool called scripting where you kind of write it in the past tense as if it has already happened. And you write it. Leanne says, I'd totally be okay with 10x more. Yes, yes, right? So with this diary entry approach, this diary entry strategy of writing your goals, you are going to write it in the past tense, like Dear Diary, it's December 31st, 2025. And here's what has happened is this year in my life. And you can say, I'm so grateful that this happened in my business. I'm so grateful that this happened with my health. So there's 4 categories I for sure think is important to talk about. And I'll give you an acronym because I'm a word nerd. All my Shine clients know that I am such a word nerd. I use acronyms all the time. So here's the acronym, and it's SIPS, SIPS, and it stands for spiritual, intellectual, physical, and social. So definitely want to have one in those categories. And I actually was telling this to my son because we were making vision boards, which I'll talk about in a minute. And he was like, oh, I know another acronym that works for that. And I was like, what? He's 17. He's a 17-year-old boy. And he was like, PISS. PISS works too. And I was like, oh, you're right. It does. So if you remember that one better, that works too. Anyways, so you kind of want to think about different categories in your life and then write it down. But the one that I want you to focus on for this call is, because I'm a business coach for coaches and course creators, is your business. So that's what we're going to do. But first, before we do that, I want to read you a portion of mine that I wrote last year. Oh my gosh, Susan just said we could make it ships and add health. Well, there you go. I like that. I mean, physical is the health. But yeah. So I wrote one of these last year in 2024, and I'm going to read you a part of it that is really cool. Now, there's a couple things I learned from doing this. And that is, number one, that sometimes our year turns out way different than we planned. And usually it's better than we planned because in my experience, sometimes we gotta allow God to surprise us. And I used to always joke like, if you wanna make God laugh, tell him your plans because usually God has better plans for you. Um, and so I looked at this. I just looked at this like a week ago at my journal entry for last year that I wrote like way like in the summer of 2024. And I was like, wow, things actually turned out better than I thought, better than I had planned. So that was one thing was like, wow, it was kind of cool to see how I had certain plans and then other things happened differently. And then the other thing was cool was just seeing how some of it worked out um really powerfully. Like how some of it worked out like exactly. So I'm going to read you this really quick and then I'm going to turn on the music and y'all are going to start. So I wrote different categories and one of the categories I wrote was my daughter's wedding. And this was like right when she got engaged was when I wrote this diary entry and I wrote it in the past tense. And this I wrote this before her wedding happened, okay? So I want you to hear what I wrote and then I'll tell you the reality. There's the writing and then there's the reality. So I said Savannah's wedding was a dream. It was so beautiful on a budget. The dance party was the best part. Savannah and I really bonded while planning it. It was really special having it in California. Um, and Savannah and James are such a compatible, happy pair. And so with that, like I was reading through and I'm like, oh my gosh, that literally happened. Like all of that happened. And Susan said, you don't look old enough to have a married daughter. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, she was born on my 22nd birthday, so I was very young. But she so yeah, that wedding happened just like that. Like we had a great time planning it. The wedding day was magical. The dance party was the best part because, like I said, I'm a dance party diva. I love to get crazy and ugly dance on the dance floor, and so does my family and even my extended family. So it was a good time. And part of it was that I was intentional about what I wanted from it. I remember thinking like I worked like I said I planned it in 100 days, so it was crazy. And I remember thinking I am not going to like this day. I worked so hard for this day. I'm not going to be that mom that like has a meltdown. I'm going to make it the most amazing day and I'm going to let things roll off my back and it was an amazing day because that was my intention. I set the intention. And let me tell you, I mean, I had only had like 3 hours of sleep the night before. I was sick. Um, but it turned out amazing and the even the lady that we rented somebody's backyard to do it in and the lady who owned the backyard, she said she's like at the very end she's like, "Hey, I just want to tell you you were one of the most chill, happy, joyful mother of the brides I've ever seen." She's like, most of them have like major meltdowns and are like hating their lives. And she's like, you just seemed like you're having such a good time. And I was like, yes, like because that was my intention. And I set that intention, I wrote it down and I planned it that way. And so that's the power of writing it down. So, um, yes, Leanne said, what a great life lesson, amazing mindset going into the wedding day. Yes, it was really powerful. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna set my alarm for like 3 minutes, maybe two, because yeah, 2 minutes. And I want you to start writing down your diary entry for December 31st, 2024, and just write down how things made you feel and things that you want to happen in your life and how they made you feel too because half of why we do what we do is so we can feel a certain way. We can feel joy, we can feel peace, we can feel calm. And so write down the feelings that you felt as well while I play my music and hopefully it's not too loud. All right. That was 2 minutes. I know it's not tons of time, but I want to make sure that we do this in an hour. So keep adding to this. And I would love to, while you're adding to it, I would actually love to hear if anyone wants to share theirs. Maybe virtually raise your hand, or you can yeah, if you want to, if you're feeling brave enough to share yours. While you're considering sharing yours, let me share just a couple things that I wrote. One is I said I loved using my teaching skills weekly via long form content on YouTube and my podcast, which was really fulfilling. That is something I'm focusing on more this year. That's why I'm doing these Marketing Monday calls, because it's forcing me to to be accountable, to show up for my business and to help, have more impact with women, and use my teaching skills. I got my teaching degree. I love to teach. And this is something I'm trying to be intentional about. So that is something I wrote. Um, I also said my Shine program has evolved and is still so fun. I have 50 members now who are basically my besties. I had 2 to 4 retreats with my dream clients, and it was life-changing for all of our businesses. My content is professional and on point, and I help break beliefs and shared my SOS messaging. And I'm able to help so that I'm able to help coaches and course creators double their income. So, kind of just shared, kind of wrote down, I also wrote down some of my other goals. Like, I learned how to ski, which I'm actually going to do tomorrow. I'm going to Big Bear to learn how to ski. Okay, Leanne said she could share. So let me unmute you, Leanne, or I asked you to. There you go. Are you there?
Is that working? Okay. Hi.
Yes.
Okay. So mine's set. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Mine says Dear Diary. It's December 31st, 2025, and I'm so happy and grateful for this past year. It turned out even better than I had envisioned in Kelly's workshop in January. Mike and I had a beautiful wedding. Both our passion projects have exceeded the incomes of our main careers. We have traveled and are both in the best shape of our lives. We both turned 25 and literally can see the next half being even better than the first.
Love that. So
Yes.
good.
Thank
And
you.
I
This
would
was a
say,
great
guys,
project.
get really descriptive, like write down numbers, all those things, like get really descriptive so that it's like you're creating this vivid vision of your life. Thank you so much for sharing, Leanne. All right, we're going to move on to strategy number 2. And this one is probably my most favorite one, and that is vision boards. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the power of vision boards and share some stories of how vision boards have literally changed my life. So the first story that I want to share is how I won a 2 carat diamond ring. So I'll never forget the day that I lost my wedding ring. Um, I was invited to go to a girls' night or a girls' day on a boat, and we decided to do some tubing. And I was so excited because I loved being pulled by a boat on a tube. And so my friend's husband was doing his best to get us 3 ladies to fall off the tube, but we were like holding on for dear life. And eventually he did a turn that made all 3 of us fly off the tube. And right as I hit the water, my wedding ring that my husband proposed with slipped right off my ring and right off my ring finger and into Utah Lake. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have to go home and tell my husband that I just lost our wedding ring. And so a few months later, I began pinning these giant wedding rings from Tiffany's on Pinterest because I have a private vision board on Pinterest. And, a girl can dream. Okay. We were on a very tight budget at the time, but I was like, girl can dream. So a couple of weeks later, I entered a giveaway for a wedding ring on Instagram and I won. the girl reached out and she was like, "Hey, you're never going to believe this, but you won the 2 carat wedding ring." And I was like, "Shut up." Like I was freaking out. I was so giddy. I called my mom, I called my sister late at night and I was like, "I won a wedding ring." I was just so overjoyed that I was able to replace my wedding ring. And it was like a really cool way to manifest that into my life. And because I think that's the thing I love about vision boards is it helps you sit down and figure out what you want. Half the time, we don't actually take time to sit down. What do you actually want? What do I want in my life? What do I want more of? And maybe even what do I want less of? And so that was a really powerful story. I have so many stories. I'll tell you one more story. But I could talk for an hour about how things on my vision board have happened. But this one, so a few years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins conference in Denver with some of my friends. And a few hours before the conference, we were trying to kill some time. So we all went to the mall down there and we were walking through some stores and we saw a Tesla store, which I had never seen before. And I insisted that we all go inside because I'd never even seen a Tesla up close. This was like 5 years ago. And as we walked in, the first thing I saw was a Tesla Model X, and it seemed like there was like a beam of light shining on it. Um, the the salesman showed me that it can hold 6 people in it, even though it was so small. And I was like, 6 people? That is the exactly how many people are in my family. And then he brought us around to the front and he showed us the frunk, which is a front trunk. There's no engine, it's just a front trunk. And I was like mind blown. I had never seen anything like it. And then he took us around to the back and he showed us how the back doors lifted like wings with the push of a button, and it blew my mind. I felt like it felt like something from the Back to the Future movie. And finally, and so I told my friend Stacy right then and there, I was like, I'm gonna get one of these cars. Like this is I want this car. This is happening. And I even texted my husband videos of it immediately after to get him all excited about this someday purchase that I didn't know how we could afford it, but I knew that I wanted it, right? It's focusing on what we want. We don't have to know the how. We just have to know the what. What do we want? And a few years later, on my birthday, we ended up buying a Model X Tesla, and it was like a used one, and it was so exciting. And it's my favorite. I'm not even a car person, but I love driving this thing. Um, and so, have you guys ever had anything happen from your vision board? Vision boards are so, so powerful. I would love to hear if in the chat if you guys have ever had anything. There's so many stories I could talk about. Let me show you what a vision board looks like for those of you that maybe are new to the world of vision boards. This is how I used to do my vision boards. I did them on poster boards. So I was trying to go around and find some of my vision boards, and I found this old poster board vision board that I made in 2023. And you can see here that I had a picture of 3 colorful houses and I wrote 3 Airbnbs. Now, you know what is fascinating that I've noticed about vision boards is that often vision boards, um, sometimes the things we put on our vision boards don't happen until like 2 years later. I've actually noticed a pattern that it's like sometimes 2 years later. But it just puts it in our mind. It puts it out in the universe. It's kind of a way of like asking God of what we want. And so you can see here I had 3 Airbnbs, and at the time we didn't have, I think we had 2, but we didn't have 3. And we ended up getting one in 2024. So that was really exciting. So we had 3 in 2024 until we just barely sold one. But we did get 3 for a hot minute. And so that happened. There's been other things. You can see here, there's a picture of the Hollywood sign. I put this on my vision board in 2023. That didn't happen until 2024. You can actually look on my Facebook like wall cover. There is a picture of my whole family jumping up at the Hollywood sign. So we took them to Hollywood in 2024. So it's just a way of showing yourself what you want and also kind of making it a priority. Now, here's the thing. In the past, sometimes I haven't even hung my vision board. I would just make them and then I would like set them aside. But this is the thing that we're going to do different this year. And that is we are going to create a vision board with that we can use as a phone screensaver. And here's why. Because the average person picks up their phone 58 times per day. That means I looked it up. I was like, it's 58 times a day. That's really sad. But if you look at your phone stats, you'll probably notice your numbers are similar. And that means that you will look at your phone 21,170 times per year. So imagine if you made your vision board your phone screensaver or wallpaper. That is 58 times that you'll look at your vision board a day to remind you what you want in 2025, and 21,000 times that you will be reminded of your goals in 1 year. Do you see how powerful that is? Do you see why it's important to make it as your phone screensaver? Because you're going to see it all the time. You're going to be reminded of your goals for the year. And you know what's great about it is when you see these things on your vision board, you take action when opportunities come up, you take action. So there was 1 year where I really wanted to go to more concerts. And so I was very intentional about looking for concerts to go to. And we went to some amazing concerts that year. I think we went to Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, and Justin Bieber all in 1 year, and it was an amazing year for concerts that year. But I don't know that I would have gone if I had not put that on my vision board and then been like, okay, this is my year to go to concerts. So when you put it on your vision board, it makes it more of a priority, right? So I'm going to share in the chat my Canva template, and then I'll show you guys. But I want to share the link to the template so you guys can pull it up and you can use it too. And if you've never used Canva, it's fairly user friendly. You can watch some tutorials if you're new to Canva, but so here is the link. I will also post this in the description of my YouTube replay and also the podcast replay. So this is the template. You guys can click on it here. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. So let me share my screen. And I intentionally chose this template because I'm not there yet. Almost there. Just okay. Tell me, can you guys see this? Okay. So right here, this is the template that I'm using to create my phone screensaver to remind me of my goals for the year. And it kind of helps to like sit down, make a note on your phone first and be like, okay, what do I want to put on here first before or you can just jump in and create it. But I intentionally chose this Canva template because it had a lot of images and it was clean looking too. So if you can see here, it has a clean look. It's not too busy, but also it has spots for 12, I think it was 12 images, which I really liked. Now you can just search Canva for any template if you don't like this one. Just search for, phone screensaver vision board and find one that you like. But this is the one that I'm using and that my coaching clients are using. And it's really cool because let me just show you a little tutorial quickly. But like you can add, I think it's important to not only have vision, like visuals of what you want. So I have here prioritize protein. So I looked for a picture of protein and like eggs. So I just chose eggs. And I even wrote down how many grams of protein I want to eat per day because I'm trying to make that more of a priority now that I'm lifting weights more. And then I also wrote eat clean because I want to eat healthier foods, especially after the holiday when I've been eating way too much garbage. So I wrote that down because sometimes you want to keep in mind that 6 months down the road, you might forget, why did I add eggs to this? Why is eggs on my vision board? So sometimes you need some like word prompts to you help remind you. So this one, I did a picture of a girl in the sun because I want to make walking, like getting in more steps, a priority, going outside more of a priority. And I also wrote my word of the year. If you've never done a word of the year, that's also a very powerful tool. I've done those for like 10 years. I've done vision boards and word of the year for like 10 years. It's been so powerful. My word of the year this year is unapologetic. Just want to just go out there, do my thing, and not be worried about judgment or people pleasing. And so that word has been very empowering so far. Um, I'm not finished this row I'm still working on, but I added, a computer with like a microphone to show that I want to make my podcast and YouTube channel more of a priority. I added dates with kids because that is a priority to go on like a weekly date with a kid. I wrote an income goal. I want to make 100,000 this year with my coaching business. I also want 100,000 Instagram fans. I also want to help my clients get to 100,000 too. So that meant multiple things to me. So adding numbers too is powerful. And when let's say you want to do, so I told you I want to learn to ski this year. It's fun to learn a new skill, you guys. Don't be afraid to learn something new. What I do is then I search here under elements. You click elements and then you click photos and I typed in ski and then you can, let me try this one more time. And then you can, so elements, photos, find one that you like. So here's like a woman skiing and then you just drag and add it in. Did you see that? You literally drag and drop. It's so cool. You can also, double click if you want to toggle the image like left and right or up and down. Okay. So that's how you can create a vision board for yourself. And they are so freaking powerful. So I am going to give us like 3 minutes, 2 minutes I'm going to stop sharing to work on, even if you don't have Canva or anything, I want you just to at least make a note on your phone or get a pen and paper and write down a few things that you want to put on your vision board um, that you want to focus on more this year. Like another thing that I'm going to add is board games. I just want to play more games this year. I want to have more game nights with my friends. I want to play more board games with my kids. We just played a board game last night and it was really fun. It's an easy way to bond together. And so board games is going on my vision board as well. So it can be anything in that SIPs category and in your business. Um, but just start writing. So I'm going to turn on some music and we are going to keep going. Oh, you can't hear my music? Well, that's awkward. How annoying. I made it so you can. Let's try again. Hear my music now? There it is. There's my music. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. So, we're gonna move on to the next thing and then we'll wrap it up. So my son in the background. They're still out of school. Okay. So the next thing, let me turn on. Okay. So the third strategy that we're going to talk about that is really powerful tool. You guys, I'm like a goal nerd and I've tried it all. So this is me narrowing it down to the most powerful strategic goal setting strategies to use. And this one is, and of course, one goal for 100 days. And I I'll tell you why it's so powerful. It because it didn't work just for me. It worked for hundreds and hundreds of women. In my book, One Goal for 100 Days, it's actually a motivational journal. So you can see there's a place to write for each day. But you can also see stories. I'm going to just go through, I'll share some of the stories of women who have done this. And the reason that I wrote it is because I feel like it's so easy on New Year's Day to really get overwhelmed by all the things that you want to change in your life. You're like, I'm going to change like 20 different things, and then you overwhelm yourself. I used to do this all the time. I would be like, "Okay, I'm going to change this and this and this in my health, and then I'm going to change this in my, you know, in my business, and this with my family, and this with my I want to read all these books." And it was so overwhelming, and then I did zero of them. And that is not effective. And so I was like, what if I just focused on one thing? What if I just focused on one thing for 100 days? And then I shared this on social media and it became a movement and all these women started doing it. And there have been some amazing transformations because of this, including I just had a girl share that she quit smoking because of this tool of focusing on one goal for 100 days. And even my kids, um, even my kids have done this. I think it's so important to involve your kids with goal setting because you want to teach them to like set goals and how to do it and also show them that you have goals that you haven't like stopped dreaming and that you're still going for things, right? So actually, speaking of kids, I'm going to show you, I think it's super powerful I actually love doing, if you're going to do poster boards, do it with your kids. My kids actually asked me on New Year's Day, they're like, can we please do poster board vision boards this year again? And I was like shocked that they were coming to me about it because I've always been the one that was like, let's do this, let's do this. And so get your kids involved. You can get books like these on Amazon. Just search on Amazon for a vision board like picture book. And what's so cool about it is I have like three that are that we use. And the cool thing about it is it's a clip art magazine. So you can see that my kids have cut stuff out um in these books because they find pictures of that represent some of their goals. So get your kids involved. And same with the one goal for 100 days. I have a tracker on my website at kellyfrance.com/tracker. And on this tracker, this is what it looks like. This is my son used this tracker back, I think he was like 9 years old at the time. And you can see that he's marked it all up. He used this and did his goal for 100 days. And the thing I love about it too is that after 10 days, you treat yourself, you reward yourself, right? Oh, Davina said her kids are using the tracker. I love it. Okay, so print off the tracker and put it somewhere where you're going to see it. So put it on your fridge. I put mine by my toilet paper roll. And then start thinking about one goal that you want to focus on for 100 days. And keep in mind that you don't have to do it in a row. I had one woman who wanted to do rowing And she was like, "But do I have to do it on the weekends?" I'm like, "Girl, you can do whatever you want. Like there's no rules." And so she decided to do it 5 days a week and skip the weekends. And so it was a longer journey. But she made so much progress in her health journey from using her rowing machine for 100 days. So it doesn't have to be 100 days in a row. It can just be 100 days. And imagine if there's 365 days a year. If you did 100 days out of 365, that's still so much. That's so much progress. That's so much consistency. I've done this where I did no sugar for 100 days. I've done it where I did, posted reels for 100 days. If you don't have a habit of posting consistently on social media, this is a great tool to use to challenge yourself to post consistently. I'm going to share a couple. Where did my book go? I dropped it. Okay. I want to share just a couple ideas for you in case, and there's a ton of ideas in here too, but these are like Heather England did 100 days of a clean kitchen sink. It can be so simple, you guys. Amanda Lex she ran 1 mile for 100 days. That's 100 freaking miles. That's insane. Let me share some more. Jody Jansen did 100 days of no soda. There's so many stories in here of Marin Chase did 100 days of not eating after 6. Um, Marlise did 100 days of walking. Um, Sandy did 100 days of devotion. Her son did 100 days of making his bed. So it's just a really simple but powerful tool to use to track your progress. Like I said at the beginning, sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit. We don't notice our wins. And when you use the tracker, which you can either use it on your phone or you can print it off, it's showing you like I'm showing up for myself and I'm doing what I said I'm going to do. And it is such a confidence boost. That's why it's great to get your kids to do it too, because it's like, look, you're showing up for yourself. And when you show up for yourself, that's a huge confidence boost. Plus it creates momentum. When you make your bed every day, you're like, look, I just made my bed. Maybe I'll clean my room. I'll do more. Maybe you say, I'm going to, walk for 10 minutes and then it turns into 15 and 20. It builds momentum and it builds confidence. And that's what is so powerful about this strategy. So I would love to hear in the comments what you guys are thinking of for your one goal for 100 days. And, I am actually going to be doing a specific morning routine for mine that I'm excited about. And so all of these strategies, I hope you guys will try all of these. But if you're overwhelmed, just try one of the strategies you learned today. And then you can add another later. But these are such powerful goal setting strategies that have helped me, like I said, go from food stamps to 7 figures. I literally changed my life because of, doing these goals and making what I want a priority and working towards them. So really, really powerful. And yeah, someone said that if they want to share this, yeah, this replay will be up on YouTube. It will be on my podcast, Finally Fearless, so you can share this with your friends, go listen to the replay. And also, I wanted to share if you are wanting to grow your coaching business this year, I am launching my pilot program, my Shine pilot program. And I'm so excited. I'm looking for some founders to test it out. And I'm looking for 20 founders to test it out. And you will get it at 50% off. So just DM me on Instagram if you're interested in that. We start January 27th, so you have time. But I'm so excited about that. That is one of my goals, is to just empower coaches and course creators to double their income. And you can do that through my Shine strategy. So we can talk more about that in the DMs. But thank you so much for joining us. We did it in an hour, you guys. It's exactly 1 hour. I'm so proud of you. And I want to challenge you to finish one of these things, like finish, if you're doing a Canva template, finish it in 24 hours. Studies show that if you do it in 24 hours, you're more likely to get it done. And if you don't, you're going to forget. So do your Canva template, do your vision board, do your diary entry, do all these things or one of these things in the next 24 hours. And I would love to see it. If you do your vision board and you DM me, I want to see your vision board, or tag me at Kelly France on Instagram. I want to see it. I love cheering other women on. And so I hope this was helpful to you. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next Monday for Marketing Monday. Bye.